birth-related issues, all largely preventable. We look at maternal health issues. Riz Khan, at this time on Al Jazeera.
Hello, you're watching Al Jazeera live from Doha with David Foster. In this programme,
been at the most 100 people killed.
The Libyan leader plays down the death toll, insisting that Al-Qaeda is still to blame for the unrest in his country. A failed mission, how the order for a British diplomatic operation into Libya came straight from the British Foreign Minister.
There is no power sharing. The power sharing is something that is fake, it's not true.
One of Iraq's most powerful politicians lifts the lid on the country's political state of play. Tunisia's interim prime minister appoints the country's third caretaker government since the overthrow of Ben Ali. No to foreign intervention, but yes to a no-fly zone. The words of one Libyan rebel leader who says his men can take on Gaddafi's rockets and tanks, but not his air power. Supporters of the Libyan leader have been moving east in an effort to push the rebels back and recapture fallen towns. Now, overnight in the capital, Tripoli, Gaddafi made a brief appearance in the symbolic Green Square. This was broadcast live on Libyan state television, and take a look at the crowds. Yeah, that was Tripoli. A little bit further east, come to the town of Misrata. Rebels there filmed celebrating their victory over Gaddafi's forces. But there's been more fighting there, and the rebels say they're very worried that Gaddafi's forces are regrouping in that area. Then crossing past Gaddafi's hometown of Sirte, we come to Ras Lanouf. That's a name, if you've been following these events, that you will by now be pretty familiar with. Pro-Gaddafi forces bombarding this oil-rich city right now. Several people are reported to have been killed, including a family who were just trying to get out of the area. So let's try and pull this all together. Here's Lawrence Lee.
The more pictures emerge of the fighting, the more it looks like a civil war. There are various front lines. This just one in the big town of Misrata. If these pictures look upsetting, they're nothing compared to the rest. Odd then that the government says it's trying not to cause too much death and destruction there. Very odd that Gaddafi himself appears entirely blind to details, like civilians or children being hurt.
We have cells that were activated, took up weapons to kill policemen, kill soldiers. There were casualties on both sides for 2 or 3 days, and weapons were stolen. Now, on both sides, the army and the police aside, the rebels, there have been at the most 100 people killed.
Out in the desert, it's obviously less important if Gaddafi's military can't shoot straight, and it has been striking how inaccurate their bombing runs have been from the air. While it's true that some weapons dumps have been destroyed, in many places the warplanes have continually missed their targets. But even if on occasion the rebels do find a way of shooting one down, air supremacy remains a huge psychological advantage for Gaddafi.
When we arrived, we didn't find any opposition because the people here are good. The people welcome us and greet us. But when we were inside, 2 Mirage planes overflew us and 1 helicopter. They wanted to shoot, but we shot them first.
All the same, if there are questions over the aptitude of the Libyan military, then the same must go for the rebel forces, whose euphoric advance was met with organised resistance they couldn't handle, and so little hospitals have been overwhelmed. It's also emerging that many of the fighters have no idea how to use their weapons and are injuring themselves. Some of these pictures suggest a desire to fight is all well and good until the reality of armed battle hits home. So with the prospect of the country tearing itself to pieces, it's hardly surprising that voices close to the regime are once again urging dialogue. The hope in this intervention on Libyan TV must have been that it sounded better than if it had come from Gaddafi.
Dear brothers and sisters, this is a chance in history. We are threatened and need to act today, to work on preparing for national dialogue and to calm the violence, so Libyans all over the country can feel safe and secure and at peace, so we can go back to school and work.
Gaddafi supporters in Tripoli might buy that argument. The east of the country might think it a trick. But as time goes on and the violence looks open-ended, it's not as though anyone else has any better ideas. Lawrence Lee, Al Jazeera.
The NATO Secretary-General has played down suggestions that NATO should impose a no-fly zone over Libya. Anders Fogh Rasmussen said that any such operation would require the full backing of the United Nations. He said attacks on civilians in Libya may amount to crimes against humanity.
If these systematic attacks against the Libyan people continue, it may amount to crime against humanity. Many people around the world would be tempted to say, let's do something to prevent this massacre against the Libyan civilian population. On the other hand, you're also right in pointing to the fact that there are a lot of sensitivities in the region as far as a foreign military intervention is concerned, or what might be considered as a foreign military intervention. And that's exactly the dilemma.
The British Foreign Minister addressed his parliament a short time ago and reiterated his government's position on what's happening in Libya.
There is a clear risk of protracted conflict and an extremely dangerous and volatile situation in large parts of the country. Mr. Speaker, our position is that Colonel Gaddafi must put an immediate stop to the use of armed force against civilians and hand over power without delay to a government which recognises the aspirations of the Libyan people and is more representative and accountable.
Now, foreigners who've been working in Libya have been trying to get out of the country since it all kicked off, and many feel that their governments have let them down. Mohammed Val has more.
Anger and protest at Ras Jdir on the Libyan border with Tunisia. More than a week after they have crossed the border fleeing the fighting in Libya, these African workers from Ghana are feeling desperate, and they say they've been let down by their country.
We want to go! We want to go! We need the help!
It's very clear these Ghanaians are not angry with the Tunisian government. They said they love the Tunisian government. They said they love Tunisia, but they are angry with their own government, they say, because it has not come to help them.
They also complain of what they think is discrimination against them in the camp.
Everywhere we go, Bangladesh, Bangladesh. We don't know where to eat. When we join a queue, tabu, Bangladesh. No Ghana, no Nigeria. You don't understand. We don't understand the reason why we are black or what.
But local Tunisian workers and volunteers are denying the charge.
Guys, you are in home here. You are home right now here.
Yes.
So we're going to help you to go back. We will help you to go back.
Ghanaian migrants have described some of the horrors they went through before getting out of Libya.
You see, they take my money. They not stick on my back. We want to go Ghana. We want to go Ghana.